Alright, so today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going over a game, a 9-dan game. You might recognize Park Young-hun as someone I've gone over in the past. He is a fairly strong Chinese... Chinese? No, he's a Korean. He's a fairly strong Korean professional 9-dan. Um, Probably not confused for the strongest player in the world. I don't think he's really up for that title so much nowadays. What I know him best for is being part of that really strong gathering that took down Chang-ho back when he was in his prime. Let's see where Go for Go puts him. I always forget to look these things up before I go live. I mean to, I just don't. Yeah, Control F. Let's find this out right now. Control F. Park. Mr. Park. Parky. Oh, I'm sorry. He is higher ranked than I thought he is. He's currently number 14 on Go for Go. So forget that completely. I guess he is, in fact, one of the top players in the world. Oh, and Shinjin So is currently 15. That's interesting. So he's just a smidgen ahead of our lovable young player, Shinjin So, who we're all following nowadays. Did not know that. Now I do. Alrighty then. But there is a reason beyond their ranking as to why I'm going to go over this game. Reason why is because if you view my videos on a regular basis, you might realize that I put out a basics video not too long ago where we were building. And then I had originally scheduled another lecture for tonight. However, I then noticed this game that also goes along the line of building. So they kind of go very, very well together. So I scrapped the lecture. We're going to look over this game instead because it goes very, very well with anyone who's still wanting to kind of get ideas on how to build. So let's take a look at that. We've got a fairly standard opening. And by fairly standard, I mean right down to the orthodox in the lower right-hand corner. Now, one thing that's interesting about white is that he decides to play the upper left-hand enclosure, and that is a 4/4 stone. I did not misclick it. Rather than do something like play the approach on the inside, like we tend to see, or do the split, which we don't see anymore, but technically you could still, go ahead and do that. He instead takes the enclosure here, which I think is kind of interesting. But it does have a downside. The downside is he is admitting that his opponent is completely allowed to get an extension from yield enclosure, which is usually what we try to avoid, or if not avoid, leave Aji behind if they insist. So this is interesting. White says, you can take exactly what you want. I don't mind. So right away, we're getting off into a little bit of an interesting game. Now, according to opening theory, you would be tempted to approach or do something with the largest side. Large side on the board right now is currently this side by counting lines. White does not play largest side. He decides to block another enclosure from his opponent because that would be really, really good. If he manages to get something like this, then he's got enclosure and extension, and enclosure and extension, which is fairly nice. Now, one thing that I do like about this is, if this is an amateur game on Cage, yes, I'd be like, he's gonna pincer. I know he's gonna pincer right now. You might be thinking about it, but black is gonna pincer the stone immediately. But black does not do that. He backs off. Now, why do I say that? If we pincer immediately, we're kind of inviting our corner to be given up for starters. One possible variation. Giving up corner in Gote. That's a little bit bad. Now, it might be a little bit better if we could potentially get an extension from this. Then that would be kind of nice. We'd be growing things like here. We'd be potentially growing things like here. This might be a nice valid use of this particular Jiseki, because we're kind of developing two areas simultaneously. Unfortunately, in this game, we would have to have had a 2-stone handicap in order to do that or something. So, can't be done. Here, we're just trying to grow. We can't really grow on the top because of F17. So we're just trying to grow the right in Gote, which is not so great. Now, worse than that, we also sometimes see things like this on KGS, because a lot of KGS players don't like giving, well, not just KGS players, amateurs in general don't like giving away anything. It's like, oh, you're trying to hit top side, I'm going to block you completely and forget anything else that I was trying to do. And the downside there is if we play that, we're going to play this way. And now our right's not as interesting as it was. I mean, this has kind of been cut off from the corner. This is kind of now all by itself. Alright, so we've got that backed off, I like. White backs off. Doesn't go into the corner because he's not really interested in the corner right now. A is probably going to be ignored. If it's not ignored, your opponent's going to probably expand. Worse, we might actually go back into this. We're offering this kind of thing again to our opponent. No reason to offer him a change of heart and get more influence. So we've got development going on here, I like. Now, we could play elsewhere as black if we have no reason to play locally. And to find out if we have a reason to play locally, we have to ask ourselves, is this corner weak or strong? It's pretty strong. Is this weak or strong? Can we attack that? That's pretty strong too. No weak groups on the board, so it's all about largest point on the board. And that would consist of either approaching the corner, approaching the corner, approaching the corner, or playing Gote. Or splitting, fine, or splitting. So everyone, let's say 5Q, 4Q and below, where would you want to play right now? And why? So 4 to 30 Qs if you are currently watching. What do you like? A through E and Y. Do I count? I think you're below 5Q. I mean, I've always thought you were below 5Q there, Frozen Soul. You'd play Tengen. That is a great way to pass your turn. Alright, we've got C and D currently being suggested. The idea there apparently is to build on the bottom. That's pretty good. We've got, and you can check this out, this is pretty cool. We've got an enclosure and extension here, and if we get some kind of approach over here, we got a double wing for ourselves. Double wings are usually pretty good. And our opponent can't really play the game that we are. Like, if we play here, and we technically tried to grow, and then our opponent like backed off and tried to grow, we could take the last large point on the board, and our framework is superior to our opponent's at that point, right? So we can't really play our game. So that's one reason to do it. What's interesting here is black is a Korean professional. He's not going to play that way. He's going to say, I'm going to split you. I think this whole passive thing's gone on a little bit too long. We need to start blowing up things and having blood rain from the sky. That's what we need to do. He wants reduction potential with D6. Reduction potential with D6. I think it's an either or move, actually. What about C8? What about C8? What do you mean, oh god, you mean now? There is no professional in the world. Thank you for following Yippee. Appreciate it. There's no professional in the world who would be uncomfortable with this. Because what you do from here is you just pincer, they come out, you come out, or you could try to come out faster, depending on how aggressively you wanted to handle the situation. And I don't know. So you can handle this. I'm not saying you can't play it. I'm just saying that you can handle this. You're also allowing your opponent to develop while attacking you, which is a little bit uncomfortable. So we just split, no double wing for our opponent. Now how do we push? Which way do we push? Above or below? Above or below, and how do we know? How do we know if it's above or below? You push towards strength. I like that idea. Yep, our opponent's going to just go ahead and settle with a 2-space extension. We can kick that, I think. Crap. It's light kicking. We can assault the base, a 2-space extension. But here's where things continue to get interesting. Whenever you have Koreans playing, you're not going to play what you think is going to be played. Black goes into the corner now, where you and I, and maybe everybody else who doesn't want to be under severe attack, would probably do something to defend this group. He's like, you know what, I'm going to go and play here now. Not there. There we go. Going into the 3-3. Now, it is Sente. Next question. Do we block top or bottom right? And how do we know? We block the top. So says, is that an L or an I? I can never tell if that's capital L or I. I'm going to say it's Plio. Or Pio. Cluffus says block the top as well. Psychta, on the other hand, says F3. Yeah, we don't really want to block in a direction that's not this. Because if we do this, we anticipate there. Now, the question here is, do we have anything to attack on this board now? And do we have anything to develop on this board now as white? Nothing to attack on the bottom side. We got this to, you know, attack. That's good on the left-hand side. A little bit of building over here. And we saved a couple of points. Not sure how many just yet, because there's still this, right? So I'm not sure how many points are over here at the moment. But, you know, we saved a couple of points, but we lose potential. The bottom side, on the other hand, is still very, very large. Right? So, if we play this way, and our opponent does go back and live here, sad face, at least this way we get greater potential to use our wall to do something with. Now, I don't like this variation for white. I don't want to develop this. I actually like black quite a bit more. However, he's Park. Maybe he can change my mind. Black kicks here. Okay, that was Sente too. My next move would be to defend the left-hand side 100 times out of 100, and sure enough, we see that, because that's the weakest group on the board, and now that we've got Sente, we want to do something with the weakest group on the board, and that is not let it die. If you have Sente and you're thinking, man, those 2 stones will probably be okay, you gotta be very, very careful about that. If we do play elsewhere, one easy way to do this group is to just play this. You're undercut, now you're getting over top. Bad news bears all over the place. We don't like this at all. Or, if your opponent is feeling particularly aggressive, you could just be like, I'm gonna try to key you. A little bit more aggressive, but also certainly possible, because no matter how you run, top or bottom, white can now build. So attacking this group, for those who absolutely must know the current score of the game and know exactly how many points something is worth. If you're trying to calculate how many points attacking the left-hand side group is worth, it's around, give or take, infinity. So that should help you in your calculations. We do not want that to be attacked. So we're going to defend the weak group, like so. White expands. He does not want to see this move on the board. That would be a little bit sad. Because do we defend this? That would suck. If he keeps attacking, do we keep defending that? Because that would suck. So we don't really want our opponent to start poking at us and trying to over-concentrate ourselves. That would not be too good. Babs would say it's worth 15 points to attack that group. I don't think so. Babs is much stronger than that. There's no way he would say that. Alright. Let's see. So the question now is, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Am I completely stupid? Did I put those names in backwards? I did put the names in backwards. Oh my god. Don't mind me, I just don't know who's white and who's black. La 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 la. There we go. That's much better. Bad luck transferred to names now? Yeah. Can't keep the trees, branches straight. Can't keep the names correct. It's just going downhill, man. So, what do we do now as black? Yes, it's black's turn. You want to create another weak group, so says Psychta. Where do you want to create another weak group? You want to create a group of J16. That is definitely an interesting idea. Seems risky. Seems risky. But I will take your risky move and raise you an even riskier move. We are now trying to live here. Because you can! Why not? This area is very, very large, and it has a ton of Aji. Let's look at all the Aji it has. If he defends here, he's got this. He's got that. He's got this. No one wants to be white anymore. This would be disasterful. And yet, it happens because we defend at K2, right? So, it seems that this move here says you can't stop me from living. Maybe. So if we can't defend ourselves, we must have to go over top. So there we go. Which means, of course, we get to go underneath. That's for free. We saw in the other variation, if white tries to say no to us, he's going to be resigning very soon. So, okay, that doesn't work. And that's I want to like take another second here and really drive that home, because a lot of people will play against this kind of play on wherever you play. They're going to try to like build up a lot. They'll never try and like really get rid of the Aji there that still exists around moves that are still in there, like around F3 or whatever. It's be like, yeah, that's mine. but it really isn't because it's so large. Like, if you actually have areas that are just that frigging large, chances are it shouldn't all be theirs just because they have a couple of stones in the nearby area. So we go here. Can't defend. So our lovely Korean 9-down gets to slide underneath. Now we have the annoying prospect of, do we play L3? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't back up. Yep. Thank you. Let's try this again. There we go. That was just to preserve the branch. So yeah, do we like play L3 now? Probably not. Probably not. I has a question. What's my question? Oh, sorry. If black plays H3, why wouldn't white just kick it? Same thing, right? Does that really stop this from happening? Have we really said no to drugs? I don't know. This still looks like it's occurring whether we like it or not, right? We're still getting the forcing moves. So I think we're hallucinating here if we're trying to do this sort of dealio. So we're gonna play here. We're not gonna do L3. And he defends himself instead. That is such a chill move right there. That is a chill move only a professional 9-down can play. It's like, you know the area that I was just trying to build on the bottom of the board? I didn't even care. I will not defend against it. You can live. I do not care. I'm just going to defend myself. I'm making my shapes. You can reduce me here if you like, sir, but maybe I get to invade your right in exchange. I'm fine with it. So black's like, all right, I'm gonna live. But now what are we gonna do? Because this is why I said that kind of ties into the basics game that I just put up onto my channel. Because any moron can grow this area, right? I mean, none of you are morons, clearly, but any moron can grow this area. Like, we just block, and then we get Sente, so we play with the darkest point on the board. We respond when we're kicked. We just keep growing and Gote. I mean, anyone can do that, right? Anyone can do that. But how do we use what I'm going to affectionately refer to as influence? This little wall here, it's at that like the H5 line. D13 is on the right track, but that's an interesting question that you're offering. You might not get the response you're looking for if you poke at D13. G14? No. We're still trying to do something with the bottom stones. So we lean against it. That's nice. Drawing back, this group's unsettled. So he comes out. Still unsettled. Can I jump out? No, you cannot. Got Miyai Hane over, under, or through. Can I come out this way? Black asks. No, you cannot. That was not the deal we made, says White. You live on the bottom. I'm in the middle. Stick to the agreement. And then black pouts and goes takes in corner. Giving Sente to white again. Clearly, he doesn't care that white's trying to take the middle. But should he care? Because white has Sente again. White has Sente again. White says, if you're going to ignore me, I'm going to attack you. Black says, you can't attack me. I'm going to jump out. I can make shape. White says that he can poke at the shape. Now what are you going to do? Black says, I'll defend myself. If I defend myself, I am strong. Fifth line territory, not terrible. Nice corner in the upper left. Black follows up, still giving absolutely no interest whatsoever to the center. It's like, yeah, I'll just keep building and reducing the top. Sure. Why not? Wouldn't Q10 have had a lot more reduction potential? When do you want to play Q10 there, Atomic? Do we play it now? Because if we do it now, we might wind up dead. We could do this. Oh, Q10, not 10 again. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Q10's on the board. Now I'm confused. Wait, what? Oh, you're talking to Frozen. Okay. Got it. Continuing onwards. So the top's getting reduced. White's attacking to grow. And attacking to grow. I think that's the one. Yeah. Eye shape, pretty cool. Forced expansion. This next move is really cool too. Like, everybody in the world right now can view that middle and you know something is being built. So everyone in the world would find a move similar to this to make sure that's nicely reduced. But how does everyone in the world want to respond to this? How do we respond to this attempt? This tells me if you are a good player or a bad player. So feel free to respond. F13? No. Okay, so it just occurred to me that I just put myself into a corner. Now that I say what I'm looking for, I just implied that you're a bad player. I won't say who, and I might have been slightly sarcastic when I said that you're bad. But if your first instinct is to defend, then black will be very, very happy. He's going to be thrilled. Because he might lock you out of the right-hand side. This is not just an attack to expand, it's an attack to, or not just an attack to reduce, but it's also an attack to expand. So if you're wanting to play this, then you're probably like in the camp of players that really want to like save everything here. But then you're going to realize that really wasn't worth saving because this tiny area in the center isn't worth what you're giving up, you know? So our first instinct should not be to defend this because it's not, weirdly enough, it's not worth defending. Instead, what you want to do with influence is keep trying to attack and put pressure on stuff, right? So what white does is says, I'm coming in. Interesting. Black defense. Borrowing strength. It's like, excuse me, I need a base. Connects on up. Okay. You have a chance to redeem yourself, bad players. You now have Sente. What do we do now? You have a chance to redeem yourself, bad players. What are we going to do? You're gonna K10. Clophis doubling down on the bad place. No, that's greedy. That's too greedy. Someone wants to K6? What's K6? Oh, going down and doubling down again. Yeah, we're black. We're black. That's black. Average outlier. Who followed the channel today, I seem to recall. Thanks for the follow again there, outlier. And while I'm thanking people, not only those who followed the channel today, I do also want to point out once again a thank you to those who were generous enough to tip today. That was also amazing of you. Even the one who was trolling with the @ signs. That was kind of funny. So what we want to do now is point out that the fact that right now there is a chance to cut this. And because there's a chance to cut this, he needs to defend it. If we don't defend it, then we can be really, really gross here and just be like, bam, I'm cut. And suddenly the middle grows again, right? Because there is a chance to actually cut this off. Either by playing that way, or maybe trying to do it... No, not this way. That way sucks. Maybe even trying to do it this way. I mean, there are ways to cut through this now that you're strong in the area. So we want to protect that from getting cut off. That's like the weakest thing we have on the board right now, is that little dangly stone at N9. So we can defend it. And grow a little bit in the middle, maybe. Take a few points while we're growing. Pretty cool. If you can find one or both of these then you might be an okay player. Turny turn. We are fixing our shape here. We've got a slight shape problem. Gotta do something about. Not dying is really good. Not sure why he did that. I guess he's trying to go after the G17 cut point. Does 06 work? What is 06? 06, 06, 06, 06, 06. So you're looking at this cut point right now. And you're looking at something like this, right? This right out here kind of hurts because it's kind of awkward to try to kill off this. But it's also awkward to even try to cut this because we can't really connect back. I don't think. Okay, maybe we can. Kind of? It's really, really weird. It's, there's like too much Aji here. I wouldn't try to cut that. I'm not brave enough to cut this. Because, I mean, even this is almost completely alive, right? Not to mention the fact that he can get cut. So I wouldn't go aiming for at 06, I don't think. I don't think I'd go aiming at that. Alright, so he plays there. White connects. Hane, hane, hane. Attack, attack, attack. Forcing moves. Forcing moves. I almost played H18. That would have been embarrassing. Luckily I didn't. More forcing moves. And then connects on up. All black has to do right now is keep the connection into the middle of the board, like so. And we're good to go. See if we can't lean on the group. If we can cut this off, we're doing amazingly. I guess if we Hane, we're going to throw in. Yes, we are. Then I guess we're going to, yep. Not going to any kind of weird, bizarre ko. Just going to stay nicely connected. I lied, that's not the Atari. Plays here first. Then we prevent the Atari and try to isolate this group of whites. We're not just trying to defend and keep our points. We're also keeping pressure on our opponent. As we can see here. Now white needs to make certain that he's not dead. Because that would really be unfortunate. That's about as far as he's going to be able to go. White gets to take. Black does as well, getting his corner back. So white's safe, black safe, everybody's safe in the center. Good times had by all. White fixes, black extends because the turn is Sente. I missed something, I don't know what. How did I miss something? Oh, right over here, gotcha. Can't live locally anymore, so we connect on up. White gets a couple more points down there, which is kind of nice. Get to reduce the yield topside just a touch. Better endgame now at L19. I missed something again. What was it? Oh. Jump in the corner. Or center, whatever that is. Now we defend against this. Because we're getting a little bit dangerous into the whole ladderies thing that we were referring to earlier. Black takes, and it should be noted that black is a bit ahead at this point. I'm not really certain how many points white's going to get into the middle of the board, and black is pretty deep. So, the game does continue, but it ends in a very spectacular fashion. I guess I'll actually show it. White plays here. What's the problem with that? White's last move creates a problem. Could say that. The integral says cut. Yeah. Things just escalated. Tremendously. Surely, we can do this. Or can't we? Try to take advantage of the ko, maybe expand, cut off the middle, have a huge center, win the game. It's like I got a lot of force moves against you. Easy peasy. Oops. Didn't respond. Larger ko now. Emergency. Ignore everything. Too big. Too big. Turns. Defends. Defends again. This is getting... There we go. Connects the ko. Looks like we're okay now. So white doesn't get killed here, but he hasn't really gained anything besides those 4 stones. And sadly, there's just nothing in the middle for him, really. Black is really, really solid. So sadly, you're still missing points, and he can hemorrhage a couple of more. For example, if we get cut here, we're going to hemorrhage these 2 stones. I think at some point I forgot to click here, but that stone's actually in place. My bad. Needless to say, white doesn't have a lot of territory. Where's white's territory coming from? Where is white's territory? Got territory here. We've got Comey. Got a couple of points in here. I guess that's territory as well. And the middle, which is junk. Black's got 3 corners, which is nice. He's got some dead stones to his name. White kind of resigns. Not here, a couple more moves. But lo and behold, white does wind up resigning. Just not a lot he can do about it. Now, the reason why I'm not showing the entire game is because there's another one I wanted to go over. I think, if I remember correctly, it has a lovely exchange that I briefly want to go over. I'm not going to go over the entire game, but there's something really, really cool in this next one that I want to go over. So let's change these guys up again. Let's get them right the first time. This one is Chang-ho. This one is Chang-ho. They're both 9-dans. And there's an amazing exchange that I want to show. Normally I'd show my real board, but not really doing my real board series at the moment. The reason for that is because I need the new camera first, which I can't order until I'm firmly in the new place because it cannot arrive to my current location. Otherwise, bad news. So if I was doing a real board, I would absolutely be putting this on there. But since I don't, we'll have to make do for the moment. And what we're going to see here is pretty straightforward. My hated pincer. Everyone plays the frigging thing. But on the bright side, it has a little bit of a variation. We've got Chang-ho trying to be a bit more aggressive with it, rather than just play out a Joseki. He's trying to be a bit more aggressive with it. White doesn't care. White just goes and plays the Hane. And then just plays a rather territorial variation. Okay. Black extends. White still has territory. Extends. Still has territory. And now we have this. Not sure how I feel about this variation. Black gets some influence. White gets some territory. Not really sure what C11 is doing right now. Just preventing white from growing the left easily, I suppose. Takes enclosure. Connects on up, or tries to. There's a cut point here later on. There's a cut point here later on, but you know, for now it's okay. Now, here's a question for you. If you were to reduce this area here, how would you approach the lower right-hand corner? If you're worried about black growing that little bottom side, how would you... You know what? Better question. How would you not approach the corner? Are there any things you wouldn't play? Wouldn't play Q4. Good idea, Dasan. I like that. Don't do that. Brookpo says he wouldn't approach low. Exactly. So Chang-ho approaches low, which I thought would be feeding our opponent very, very nicely. We get pincered here. White picks a very aggressive variation, but this is the only reason why I actually picked this game that I wanted to go over. However briefly. Usually this game would just be a shorty, but I can't record those right now. I'm going to show you you all this just however briefly. So he picks this variation, right? Normal follow-up. We throw on the inside. And black says, do me a favor. If it's not too much trouble, give me that wall. So it's looking like we made a mistake. I mean, look at the walls being built. Walls being built. That's a problem. That is a problem. White cuts. Black says, I'm just going to kill you then. You're supposed to live in your corner, stupid. What are you doing? White plays the Hane. Black's like, you're dead. You, I'm afraid, are all washed up, old-timer. Chang-ho would say to Liu Chang-ho. But is he really? White drops down. Odd. Because Atari. Doesn't he realize that? We throw in. We sacrifice. Or not sacrifice, we Atari connects, clearly. Threaten to connect up. Threat to connect up. Doesn't work. Atari connects. Extends. Huh. Well, that didn't happen at all like anticipated. There's a large area on the left-hand side of the board that was kind of sort of what we would consider influence for black. And white's just like, okay, take my stones. It's like, okay, I'll take your stones. It's like, good, now your influence is gone. It's like, wait, what? How'd that happen? So by getting rid of these 3 stones, he gets enough influence to kind of negate the influence that black was building for himself on the other side of the board. Tries to attack. It's like, alright, we're attacking him now. But now you're completely surrounded. It's like, but you don't have a base. Doesn't really matter though, right? I mean, black got territory. But white got a ton of thickness from this. Oddly enough, white's now the one with thickness from this exchange. And sure enough, black is just like throwing temper tantrums all over the place. He's like, well, I'm going to make sure you can't extend from this. That way we're not letting white use his influence very effectively. Black doesn't have very many points. That is true. Black doesn't have very many points. There's a large point top of the board still with the extension for black. Black is dead in the corner with S6, right? No. White's an Atari, Clefus. See? Liberty here, 2 liberties versus 1. You're capturing a dead shape, Clefus, plus you still have I here, and the I that you can make there. So you got more than enough ways to make life there. So no, you're fine. He's completely fine. Clefus is really, really wanting to kill this, so let's look at it real quick. If we play what? The R6 and we take, and then you want to throw in, but there's this, but even if this isn't a thing, even if we play here, we're still okay, because even if white plays here, we're okay. And even if we throw in, we can still play away, because even if we play here, we've got this. So it takes playing away 3 times in order to kill this group. So alright, black backs off. And then white attacks the group that has now been capped, has Aji remaining and might be too close to thickness. So I think that's an really amazing example of how to use thickness very, very early on in the game. It's like we sacrificed the corner, we got the influence, and now we're attacking. Rather, black was we got the wall, and then he kind of just tried to build territory in the bottom or something. Forcing moves, forcing moves. And completely at ease, just making shape. Not doing anything bizarre. It's like, I just need shape. Make sure I can't be attacked. A lot of Aji down there still. If he wants to get rid of it, he can give me Sente in exchange. But right now we're fine. Gets rid of some Aji. Protection. Large point. And from here, the game kind of continues. I won't go over all of it, but I will go over the one of the coolest parts. And that's here. After this, white ignores because he's already protected at 010. So we Atari. And black says no. So we take. And black says no. So we threaten to cut off these two stones. And black says no. Then we threaten to link up. And at that point, black's just like, screw it. Because there's just too many ways for him to make life. Like, that is the power of Aji. It's amazing. So I thought this whole bottom exchange was amazing. That was just like falling in love with Lee Chang-ho all over again. Because he was just like, this is like a really cool variation. I love this bottom right-hand side. The thing is, I don't know if you can spend a move to remove the Aji. I mean, the only way to really remove that Aji is to actually kill that. But that's too slow, right? So, I don't know. I think the bottom right variation is just not really that good for black as long as you are a player who is good with using Aji. Because, I mean, I don't know what else you do. I mean, do you clamp to that? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's so cool and weird, but yeah. You want the SGF? Okay, those of you watching on YouTube will, of course, both SGFs. Links to them will be in the description down below. Those of you on Twitch will be a description in the chat, actually. And if you are on KGS, it's also over there. That is a Lee Chang-ho game. You can look at it in further detail if you so feel inclined. That's going to wrap it up for me today. I loved how he used influence here, not to develop, but it was still very, very cool. And the first game was a nice example of how we kind of look for forcing moves to build and how you have to be on your toes against that. Constantly not let your guard down, otherwise your opponent could try to regrow something that you were threatening or that you had thought you had previously dealt with. So, cool games, both. Once again, the link to both games will be in the description down below if you are watching on YouTube. Once again, thanks everyone for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. We'll be back in the coming days because I'm trying to stream almost every day. So I'll probably have something tomorrow night and Friday nights, and maybe something on the weekend. As well as our usual times on Monday and, of course, Wednesday and sometimes Sunday. So I will see you fine people later. Take care, everybody.